Good morning and happy Saturday. Hand today is going to be Jack 10 of spades. We are under the gun. We open raise. We get a caller. We get a caller from the button, and we get a caller from the big blind. So let's take a look at this hand. I think our preflop raise is pretty standard. We're just going to make this play. And then we get to the next early position player. He's playing 28-7. Doesn't seem to be too extraordinary here. However, so 26%. He limps a lot. Limp first in 24%, and it looks like he limps calls a lot. So once he limps, it looks like he's calling all the time. It calls a 2-bet from early position 88% of the time. So 7 out of 8 times he's called. I'm not sure what to make of this. Is this just super wide and he tries to play crazily when he's in early position versus an early position raiser? Or, and I think this is probably a little bit more likely, in those seven out of 8 hands, he's just had something. So he's just had decent hands whenever he's been in early position and somebody raises. I put together a range like this. This is 18.9%. Kind of fits. I started with let's open this up. Let's open this up a bit. Actually, I wonder if I could undo that. Go back to what I had. Nope. I do think he's gonna be raising, and the reason I say that is I've got a 3-bet range of kings plus jacks and then 10-7 suited. The 10-7 suited, I don't know where that came in. Oh, here it is. Limp and called under the gun versus EP ISO with 10-7 diamond. So he must have limped. I ISO raised it. He called with 10-7 of diamonds. However, we don't have a 3-bet range. Yeah, so he mixes this up. But in any case, I'm going to say he's got at least 10s plus, ace king with ace jack, ace queen suited. That's at 21. Right now we're at 21%. We could go suited kings. I think maybe suited kings could be good. We've got some of our Broadway hands. I don't think he really has all of those. Offsuit Broadways. Definitely Jack 10, but not like King 10, Queen 10. I just don't think he has that. We had Queen 8, and I think this is probably good. It's closer to what maybe a limping range could be, where it'll be heavy on his suited hands, and I do think he has suited aces, suited kings at his limping range. Let's get to these next players. We've got 156 hands on this player. I do have 3-bet with king, queen of diamonds from mid position, raise first in. So for him, I think 3-bet's going to look something like this. We're going to say 9s plus, ace queen plus, ace jack diamond, or ace jack suited, king queen suited, and then give him the rest of these hands. And then I think this is 18.3% total. I think that's good. What about the blind? The blind's going to be a little bit similar. I think he's a little bit tighter on his 3-bet range. The only hands I have is 3-bet with queens and 10s. So I did 10s plus, ace king suited, ace king, and ace queen suited. Just tighten him up a little bit. I don't think he's necessary. We only have 95 hands on him and 156 on him, so I don't have a huge number, but I don't think either of these. I don't think he's going to be a typical player where it's like you have a bunch of calls, and then you're on the button. So I'm just going to call with a lot of cards and hope I hit. All right, so we see a flop of 10-7-5 rainbow, and here I assume it's going to check to us, and it is on us in a 4-way pot. This is going to be a little tough because if we take a look at our draws, we can have an open ender 8-9. That's about it, and then we would have to include in some of those bottom pairs as maybe a bluffing ranges, and probably with some of our 2-card backdoor flush draws, maybe adding like ace-5, maybe adding like a hand like ace-king, ace-queen, maybe ace-jack. Maybe all of those. maybe all of those. Maybe that is our bluffing range, and then for our value range, we're looking at basically. I don't think we're going to be betting all of our top pair. That's probably too much. I do think there's value in betting these to try to get folds. I think Ace 10, King 10 could be a check, just to see how things develop. I think with our overpairs too, I think maybe kings, aces, and kings maybe could be a check. Uh, let's do 50% for kings, kind of a mixed strategy. I think there's value in betting jacks and queens. There's value in getting like the ace x hands to fold, the king x hands to fold. I do think there's value in doing that. It is a bit of value, so if called, hey, we do have a value hand, but at the same time, we're protecting our value a little bit. So I think there is some value, and I think this is kind of what we're looking for, 55%. We bet 4, we bet small, and that's probably appropriate given the number of people in our hand, versus 3 opponents. So I'm going to go with that, and then you have this player raises, and both of the other player folds. So let's get these players out, and let's take a look at this guy. We have on the flop raised the cbet 17%. We've got some raise flop cbet with overpair or less and no draw. So I think when he raises, we know he raises with overpair plus. So I think he's probably raising at a minimum middle pair plus. Maybe he's got some draws too, open ender and gut shot. Let's look at aggression factors. 2.2, 2.18, 2.75. He is playing pretty good. I don't know what mine is. I'd have to really check. Do we have any other players? Yeah, this guy. Let's see what his aggression factor is. 2.2, 2.57, 1.6. So this just seems a little strange. He's raising more than 3x pot, or 3x my bet, so this is possibly for it's a little more than half pot bet is looks to be what it is. I do think, let's see here, yeah, we just have raise flop cbet with overpair or less and no draw. I'm guessing based on that, I don't have any flop. I think when I see that with overpair or less, makes me think that he's playing player like I raise pre-flop. He's not going to think I hit this hand or hit this hand very hard. So I kind of feel like he's making a move at me. I could even say just any pair. He could be raising with any pair and just that, and not even include the open enders. So I think that's what we're going to do. He's going to raise. The other people fold. It comes back to us, and the question is, well, what do we do? I think at this point we fold our bottom pairs. I think we're calling everything. We're calling all of those top pairs. We call our open ender. I think there's possibility of raising, but given how he plays, I think it's if we raise, I think he's just going to fold everything. But if we call, there's a possibility that he could improve and thus pay us off. So I think with our good hands, like with our sets, and maybe we're going to have to balance that with some of our open ender straights, we might have to. Yeah, I think with those, I think we might check and see what happens. The open ender we call. What about all of our 2-card backdoor flush draws? Obviously, we're calling with 8-9. I think we call with any of our 10s. I think ace 9 we can fold. I think ace 5 is probably a call. I think these hands could be questionable, like the king, queen, king, jack, queen, jack. I think any of these. I mean, just kind of depends on what comes out. We're folding about 20% at this point. We had like a 55% pre-flop raise. I think he's demonstrating that he does have something. So if anything, I'm probably danger with calling with like queen jack, king jack, ace jack is if a jack falls. I mean, jack 10's in his range, and I think he could make a raise with jack 10. Now we have jack 10, but we're just, again, we're looking at all of our ranges. So maybe these hands we fold, and maybe keep like queen jack, king queen, maybe something like that. So we've got our straights, we've got our pairs, we've got, if a jack comes, we still have outs. So that's at 37%. So we've folded off maybe 30% or so, I think. 55 down to 37, maybe about 30% or so. So I do call. So now we take a turn of a king. So that would have, we would have connected with our back doors, well, with a king, so ace king, king queen. That would have been good for us. Villain could have 2 pair, could have the king 10, but that's a small number of pairs. So what do I do here? I checked. I think that's appropriate. I think that is what I should have done. We gave up the lead when we just called. We checked, villain bet. Now he bet half pot, and what do we do? Played turn draw aggressively. He has position, or has aggression, initiative. That's what I meant, initiative. I don't think that necessarily counts as a cbet. So he can bet here 51% of the time. It looks like he bets quite a bit. What would he do? Is he giving me credit for a draw? I think definitely he's going to continue with set. He's going to continue with 2 pair. We do have the note that he plays turn draw aggressively, so we're going to include flush draw. I would think he just kind of is giving up on these middle pairs, but all of the 10s, I mean, he could be betting here to get me to fold. I just don't think it makes sense. We're gonna go with this 2 pair set with flush draw. We're gonna split that out. So of those bets, 36% are flush draws. We need 25% equity. Equity to call. We've got top pair plus. We're at 35% right now with basically our entire range, so we should be calling all of those. And because he has those draws, see, as we add these, we're getting closer. I think we're still calling. At this point, I think we are going to raise our sets. I think we're definitely going to be raising our sets. We're going to be raising them for value, and we're going to try to get in. It's 20. We raised to 60. That's going to be half our stack. If he calls 60, that's at 120. We got about 60 left. 60, 60, 120. So maybe we do 50. We raise it up to 50. He calls, that's 140 in there, and we've got about 70 remaining, and then it's about a half pot bet at that point on the river. So yeah, I think we're raising with our set. I think we could possibly raise with 2 pair for value. I think trick here though is if we bet and he doesn't have anything, he's just gonna fold. So what are we going for? But if he has a diamond draw, he's calling. So maybe a set and 2 pair we raise. I think top pair is definitely going to be a call for us. I think pocket pair below the top cards a call. Middle pair is a call. If we bet, what hands fold? I don't think anything folds. So I think if nothing folds, then we're not going to balance our ranges, our set and 2 pair. We're just going to call with our draws and see if we hit, because there's no benefit. We have no fold equity here. So I think when we do that, now we're down to like 25% because you can see we lost our sets and 2 pairs. So maybe we need to include 2 pair here as our call. I think folding middle pairs too weak. I think so. 2 pairs, okay. Yeah, we need 25% equity to call. We have 25% equity based on this range. So I think the call is fine. 10 comes out, 10 of hearts. That's actually pretty good for us. We've just check called. I think we check call again. And he checks behind. I think with that 10, if we bet, he's just going to fold all of his weak pairs. He's going to give us credit for the 10. So I think there's really no reason for us to bet here. Not with our 10. What about with like a top pair hand? Or I think maybe we could bet with these. Maybe with like the nothing hand, like 8-9, just as a bluff. Say, hey, you know what? We're gonna try to represent the 10. I think it's consistent with all of the 10. Maybe he folds since he has all of these. Maybe that's just optimistic. I'm being optimistic, and that's ridiculous. Maybe he's never folding. But in any case, it went check, check. We showed Jack 10 spades. He shows 9-7, 9-7 of spades. And we had that as a weak pair, but we got rid of it on the turn. So if you see, we had the 9-7 here. I didn't think he would be betting this weak pair. So if he does do that, right, he bets all of those. Now it changes it. We still have turn. We still need 25% to call. Now when we're looking at it, we've got easily 95%. Since he has such bad cards, we could call with a gut shot and still be getting the proper odds because we know he's doing this with bottom pairs and stuff. I kind of think if I raise, though, he's not going to call. But I still think 2 pair and sets are worth some value. I don't know, 2 pair would be king 10. So I still say sets and 2 pair we should bet. I think everything else we check. I don't think we're balancing that. And then, of course, is this the 10 of hearts? 10 of hearts comes out. Yeah, of course we can bet. We can lead out here. And I think if we lead out, we are going to lead out some of our 3 of a kinds. Since we don't have a full house. I don't think we lead out all of them. I think we lead out maybe like ace 10, maybe 9-10, jack 10 we call, queen 10 we call. So 13% we lead out, and then maybe some of our nothing hands. So if we do all nothing hands here, all of the 9-8s, we're at 50-50. I don't think we want that, so let's switch this to 3 of kind, maybe like queen 10 too. I mean, that is, if we do jack 10 plus, jack 10, queen 10, ace 10, that gets us to 2-to-1 value to bluff. So we're going to take some notes on this. That was definitely a bit unusual, a bit of a surprise. So he call under the gun 3 big blind RFI in EP2 with 9-7 of spades. He is in position, well, MP 4-way So he raised. He raised that. We'll call it, say, 60%. Raised 60% cbet, and then he bet 50%, and then he checked on a 10 of diamonds, 7 of clubs, 5 of spades, king of diamonds, 10 of hearts. Okay, so how do I think I played? I think I played it okay. There's obviously opportunity for us. Just, you can say I got stubborn a little bit, but the way he's playing, I can't give him credit for having a better hand. I kind of assumed jacks, queens, kings, and aces would have raised pre-flop. At a minimum, king, aces, and kings would be raising. Maybe even queens would be raising. When he comes over the top on the flop, so raises my c-bet, I just have to give him credit for trying to make a play. We have a 10. When I call the flop, he should be thinking, what do I have? And I think there's hands that I could be calling with that are definitely weak, just draw hands. When I call the turn, now you have to really consider, do I still have those draws? The king hits. I mean, that is definitely a hand, that a card that hits me. So maybe with the king, maybe it is better for me to lead out on the river to try to get some extra value. If this, instead of a king, maybe if it was a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or something like that, where that's really less likely to hit any of the hands that I would have called, like c-bet and called, then maybe that is preferred to check then and hope that villain bets when that 10 comes. I kind of like that idea more, because once we call the turn, I think that tells villain we either have a 10 or maybe we've connected with a king. And if he doesn't have a 10 or a king, then he's not going to bet on that river. He shouldn't be betting on that river. But if we lead, he may. Let's go back to this river. Well, I guess we are here. The pot's at 81.6. If I lead for 30 big blinds, he may be curious enough to call with a pair, just to keep me honest. Maybe. Just, I mean, what would he call with? What does he normally call a bet with on the river? 33%, fold 56%. Okay, so to a donk, fold to a donk 100%. So maybe that, the bet, c-bet and call, and then call is representing some decent strength, and then maybe the river is just, yeah, maybe we're gonna have to like break it down a little bit. So in any case, I think there's different ways we can play it, but and it's hard to run GTO with 4-way to kind of get that idea of what do we do. What do we do? But I think we can, so let's do this. So we are going to go back to the flop. Already loaded in ranges, so we've got 12.4. And our effective stacks are 132. I'm just going to leave, we're going to do 50% just as our standard. We built the tree, we're going to run the solver, and we'll be back. All right, I think we're going to ultimately run 2. We're going to get to a flop. We're going to narrow ranges once we get to the flop to kind of see what do we do based on that range. So we're betting basically 100%. Out of being out of position, we've got a stronger range. Yeah, I just think there's going to be no balance. So according to GTO, we missed it. We should be betting 100% here. Again, we're 4-way, so maybe we have to reduce it. Villain's supposed to raise 18.6% of the time. I want to see what those raising ranges are. He doesn't have any of those. I mean, he has some 7s on there. He's raising sets, 2 pair, top pair. pocket pair below the top card, middle pair. So I guess if we're betting super frequently, then yeah, I do think he has him raising. Okay, so he raises, and then we call with like our Jack 10. We go ahead and re-raise over pair sets. So GTO has this calling with some of the sets here. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think I would have planned to bet, but I guess since we have a better range, we bet here. I guess if he calls, what's our play then? And that was a king of diamonds. I guess we start checking a little bit. A Jack 10 becomes a check, but we're still betting a lot of those hands. I guess because we have gut shots, or we hit a pair at that point. And we're still with jacks and queens. We're far. I mean, we basically just have a pair at that point. Okay, let's move this off, and let's. So we should be betting 100%. Let's go to this. So we have his hand where he raises. Right? We have the hand where he raises, and now we want to get to the turn. Yeah, I think that's right. All right, so I'm going to move these over and set it up, and we'll be back. All right, so we'll check this out. I kind of set it up so that we bet. He raises, but now he's raising. So like basically 100% cbet. No way. Now it becomes correct for him to raise that 9-7. Oops. Oh, hold on. I messed up. Ranges. All right, we'll fix it. All right, so we're betting again. Small percentage of raises. So he raises. We still have our call. That's okay. And now we're looking at checking. Villain bets. He still has some bets with his 9-7. He did choose to bet. I think he's betting way too frequently here. And then for us, once he bets that, GTO has us folding. But that assumes he's not. He's checking some of these better hands. So I think what we need to do at this point is to get to our turn. King of diamonds. So at the king of diamonds, this is the range that we have. Now he bets. He bets that. We're having all of those. Yeah, we want all of these. That is his bet range. Oops. All right, so let's see if we can get this going. That is his range. Oops. That's his range. What about our range? I think we're going to go with this range. This is what we made it to. We are out of position. Okay, we're going to build our tree. It was okay. We're going to edit it. We're going to import. Okay, so we are just going to go check. Check. And then we're going to go check. And whoops, hold on. Add action. And we want our check, and then we're going to check. So that gets us to the river with those cards, with these cards, because we want to look at that river decision. So we're going to run solver, and we'll be back. All right, super fast. Check. Got a king of diamonds. Check. Now we've got the 10 of hearts, I believe. All right, so now we are there with our ranges. We have a small number of bets. We are betting some three of a kinds, ace 10, some queen 10s, and then we are including some like ace queen and king queen. So ace queen's not surprising. When we looked at like missed hands, we had like a 9-8. I like the ace queen because the issue I had was I had way too many of these missed draws compared to the trips hands. But if we just pick two of these ace queen hands, that's two combos versus the two combos here, along with two combos for the queen 10. And sometimes we bet ace jack. This makes sense. So I think overall it was okay for us to check here. Um, Definitely okay for us to check here. And then Villain's supposed to be betting all of these. He did right by checking the 9-7, so I think that was okay. Um, yeah, so I think overall we played this hand okay. We were off with our cbet, but again, we just recognized that GTO assumes we are heads up, and we were not. We were four way. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. It was a long one. If you do, look tomorrow. So if you're interested in more hands, look tomorrow. I should be doing another one.